There is a city filled with luxurious and modern buildings, once expected to become the Dubai of China, but now it has turned into a ghost town. What happened? Why has a megacity designed for millions of people become a symbol of wasted ambition? Let's explore the mystery behind this collapse right now. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other fascinating stories. Ordos was once one of the wealthiest and fastest growing regions in China. Located in Inner Mongolia, Ordos was known for its abundant coal and rare earth mineral resources. During its golden age, around the early 2000s, this city symbolized the rapid growth of China's economy, particularly in the mining sector. Thanks to its rich natural resources, Ordos' economy boomed, attracting investments and people from all over the country. Kangbashi, a part of Ordos, was built as a modern megacity, with high-rise buildings, wide roads, and perfect infrastructure. Government buildings, shopping centers, and entertainment venues were rapidly constructed. The goal was to attract a large population and become an important economic hub in the region. At that time, Ordos wasn't just developing economically, but was also heavily invested in culture, education, and social activities. Large cultural works, museums, and art centers were built to enrich the spiritual lives of its residents. The image of Ordos back then was not just one of economic prosperity, but also of ambition to lead the urban modernization wave. The city was seen as a shining beacon in China's economic boom, a place where anyone would dream of joining the investment craze and enjoying the wonderful living conditions. The skyrocketing price of coal brought enormous wealth to the city, making Ordos look more glamorous than ever. However, this rapid development was overly inflated and not aligned with the actual needs of the market. When the constructions were completed, buyers didn't show up. Property prices were too high, far beyond the reach of local residents, leaving many residential areas empty. At the same time, global coal prices plummeted in the early 2010s, weakening the city's economy. Coal companies cut production and laid off workers, leading to an exodus of residents seeking opportunities elsewhere. As a result, Ordos quickly fell into a ghost city state. The skyscrapers and luxury villas that once symbolized prosperity are now mere concrete shells, with few people in sight. Ordos was planned with the vision of becoming a modern megacity capable of hosting a large population. Kangbashi, the heart of Ordos, was once the symbol of modernization, with grand structures rising high in the desert. The vast Genghis Khan Square, with its imposing monument, is now just a rare stop for the occasional wandering tourist. The theater, Ordos Museum, and the gigantic sports center with an international-scale stadium once were the pride of the city, but now lie silent, with no events taking place. Many other large buildings are in similar condition. The structures that were once Ordos' pride now remain as magnificent but desolate symbols of a dream of urbanization that never came true. By 2016, only about 100,000 people lived there. During this time, real estate developers did not miss the chance to profit from this gold mine. Many contractors quickly launched massive projects, hoping that waves of migrants would soon fill the newly constructed buildings. Ordos' rapid development also triggered a powerful real estate boom. Land prices soared, and many believed that Ordos would soon become the new economic hub of the region. Investors from all over, particularly within China, flocked to buy land and apartments, hoping for large profits from the boom. They expected Ordos to become the ideal destination for the upper class and entrepreneurs. Property prices here quickly skyrocketed, reaching levels close to those in Beijing and Shanghai. This made real estate so expensive that it was out of reach for most of the local population, turning the apartments and villas in Ordos into products only affordable to the elite. Even though Ordos was expected to become a vibrant cultural and financial center, most of the local population could not keep up with the city's rapid growth. The residents of Inner Mongolia, where Ordos is located, mainly worked in resource extraction or agriculture, with modest incomes that were not enough to cover the soaring real estate prices. Although many modern high-rise buildings and villas were constructed, most residents could not afford to buy homes in Ordos, leaving many new buildings empty. The development of Ordos was initially based on the resource extraction industry, particularly coal and natural gas. These abundant resources created optimism for investors and local authorities, who believed they would continue to generate large profits and attract more residents. The ambition to transform Ordos into the Dubai of China drove the construction of modern urban projects, with a series of large-scale buildings springing up. However, dependence on natural resources became a burden when global coal prices collapsed in the early 2010s, plunging Ordos's economy into crisis. Mining companies had to cut production and lay off workers, leaving thousands of people jobless and forcing them to leave the city. This led to a population decline, with residential areas once expected to be bustling now eerily empty, turning Ordos into a ghost city. The major issue with Ordos was not just the drop in coal prices, but also the lack of economic diversification. The city was almost entirely dependent on mining, while other industries such as services and commerce had not developed strongly enough to compensate when the mining sector declined. This made it impossible for the city to sustain its development as initially hoped. As a result, many massive real estate projects were abandoned, and numerous unfinished buildings marred the city's landscape. Residents were no longer keen to move to a city in crisis, making Ordos even more deserted. Recognizing that relying on natural resources was no longer sustainable, Ordos' local government shifted its focus to diversifying the economy. One of the key breakthroughs was heavy investment in renewable energy, especially wind and solar power. This helped Ordos quickly become one of China's largest renewable energy production centers, creating new jobs and attracting residents back to the city. One of the local government's most unique strategies to stimulate housing demand in Kangbashi was relocating schools and educational facilities from surrounding areas to this city. This aimed to attract families and residents to live in Kangbashi, as they believed having good educational institutions would encourage people to move and buy homes. This was part of the effort to revive the city and tackle the ghost town issue. Additionally, the city focused on developing sectors like cultural tourism, tapping into the Mongolian heritage to attract visitors and create new revenue streams. Cultural events and traditional festivals were regularly organized, contributing to reviving urban life. The story of Ordos is a lesson about the risks of relying too heavily on a single industry and the importance of economic diversification. The city has experienced major ups and downs, but it is now gradually finding its way back to growth thanks to new economic strategies. Do you know of any other cities that have faced similar situations? Leave a comment below to share with me and others. And finally, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss out on more fascinating discoveries.